Hello everybody, Keely O'Brien here, and I'm back today to have a go at making another postcard in the #Gelli postcard play series. And today I'm going to use two of my books to create hopefully a woodland themed scene on my postcard. So the previous postcard that I did, I had a lot of difficulties filming it, so if you've watched that, you might have noticed that, but I was so thrilled with the postcard. I have to say it's my favourite one. I can't stop looking at it. I posted it on Instagram. The reel went far more viral than on my other reels, so I think people did enjoy my beautiful close-up of that. I'm really excited about it, and I did use my butterflies book and my vintage flowers for that one. I also made this one back in postcard 4, so this was an early one, and I wanted to use, can you see the Gelli print with the fern background? I've got a little bit left over, and I have some other pieces as well which I've tucked in here that I would like to use too. I'm a bit loath to cut them up, to be honest, because they're just beautiful, and I would scan them, but I don't know how to do it. I can sort it out, but my new computer's not hooked up to my printer. Blur. Anyway, I can easily make some more because they were great fun to make. So what I want to do is cut up a mushroom or so or two from here, and I've got some images in this one. I want to make this a woodland scene, but also something a little bit magical. So I've just picked out some illustrations that I wanted to use. So I think I might go for some of these butterflies this time. They're a bit more stylized and a bit less vintage than the ones in the purple book I just showed you. And I might use some of these little acorns as well, which are also a bit stylized and watercolory. But what caught my eye and my attention this morning was this lady. You see she's got leaves in her hair, and there's a bit of autumnal magic going on there, and possibly this candle as well. I might use that too. Maybe even one of those autumn leaves. Who knows? It's not quite autumn yet, but the leaves are, one or two leaves are starting to drift down from the trees. So I'm going to get the scissors, cut some of those out, find some mushrooms, and then I think I want to build up a background like I did with this one. Can you see I've got all these stripes going across, and those are Gelli prints. There's some maps in there, and I really loved doing that. I think it just gave a lot of interest and texture, and the colours. I'm really in love with that technique, so I'm going to do that again today, I think. However, because I want a woodland theme, I'm toying with the idea of sticking everything this way round. I mean, I think I'm going to keep the postcard portrait rather than landscape, because all the rest are portrait. And I do want to keep them all the same way round, I think, at the moment. So yeah, I may stick everything vertically rather than horizontally, but let's see what transpires. So now that you've seen a glimpse of my book collection, let's talk about why I'm so passionate about cut and collage. It's more than just crafting, really. It's about creating something magical from the simplest materials. Each image that I include in my books is carefully chosen to spark creativity. And as I cut out these images, I'm already thinking about how they'll come together to tell a story. So when I was teaching art at school with primary school children, collage was a wonderful way for the children to all be able to achieve and get something down on paper, and not just have a blank sheet of paper, but lots of colour and texture and ideas. And one of the things I love most about collage art is that it allows you to express your imagination in such a unique way, and everybody's art turns out differently, and that's the beauty of it, even with the same materials. So if you're new to cut and collage,
don't be afraid to experiment. Mix and match different elements, and layer your images and see what speaks to you. It's all about having fun and letting your creativity flow. I hope you're inspired to create something magical today. If you're looking for more images like these, check out my books. They're packed with all kinds of treasures just waiting to be discovered.
Okay, I'm back. So, you might have seen this lying on my desk. This is papery bark from my paper birch trees that I have in the garden, and it's amazing stuff. It's really sort of tough but light and very crackly, but I want to use it to help create a woodland background for my images. Now I'm just thinking, will the images get lost against that brown, or should I use the back, which is more like a silver birch trunk colour? So what I might do is intersperse some lettering from just a cut up book that I harvested, some narrow strips of lettering, and I might intersperse that with some of these. Now I'd quite like to get the lettering not just like an old yellowing paper colour, but also maybe use some distressed inks on that. So let's give that a try. First of all, I need to glue down my lettering, so let's try that first. Just using this, I haven't finished fussy cutting yet. Let's put those over there. Please tell me I'll finish my breakfast. Okay, so I'm just going to create some columns here. I'm not worrying too much about them being straight or what width they are or anything like that. I'm just giving myself something as a starting point. There we go, and I do have these beautiful slightly glistening fern prints as well that I think I might bring in at this stage. So try not to be too even with these, and I'll try that edge piece as well. Glue's going a bit sticky today. There we are. Okay, just going to trim those so that I can see what's what. Still a bit sticky, but let's just see where we're at with a starting point background. We're going to need a tad more glue on there. Trimming is very satisfying. Actually, fussy cutting is very satisfying, I'm finding, and obviously necessary if you're going to do collage. Oh, I completely missed the glue on there, didn't I? There we go. So very much an advocate of starting with what you have. I'm just getting stuck to everything, just using resources and materials that I have to hand. So bits of tree bark and my books, and I'm so sticky now. I need to go and wash my hands. Okay, so I had an idea that on my background here, it would be really great to add some stenciling. So you can see I've just had a little play here with the old car sponge to see how this is going to come out. So I'm using distressed paint. So I'm literally just using the dirty old bit of sponge, and I want to get some practice in before I tackle my postcard, so I'm just blending the two colours thus to try. Should maybe stick that down, that would be easier. Wishing I had some ready colours now for these berries, but I might have to fake those with a pen later. Now I quite like that. I think I'm going to add some of that onto here. Might even use that later as well. So let's just, not going to worry too much. I'm just going to see what I get. And obviously some of it's going on that white background, and it's going to get covered up, I think, with my bark from the trees there. Right, let's see. Oh, no, I like that bit. I do like that. Let's add a bit more. Maybe twist it sideways slightly. I do want to get some of those little sort of blackberries on. I mostly have neutrals and greens of these. I don't want to get too far down the green route. So I'm trying to get a late summer. Oh no, I've just gone over the edge, never mind. That one's done too much. Too much paint on the sponge, never mind. I can always stick something over the top. That's the joy of collage, really, isn't it? If it goes wrong, you can just cover it up with something else. Okay, so a little bit more over here. Doesn't even have to be very dark. Pumice stone as well. I might try some of that. Okay, so straight away I can see there's way too much paint on there. It's going to smudge. So let's try now. Certainly fun. That showed up a little bit. Not very much difference in the colour tone between that and the brown paper. That's probably why it's not showing up very much, but that's okay. Oh, that one is. I didn't want it to be particularly neat anyway. It was just to create a little bit of interest. Right. Let that dry. I still don't like this smudge, but we'll see what happens. I could tear some of this up and stick that on. Oh, let's do that. There's a bit of common sense. In fact, I'll cut some more strips. There we go. This will come out much better. Sometimes you can just try too hard, can't you? Sort of collage fodder, I suppose you could call this. Okay. Yeah, oh, I like that now. Yep, so I'm going to get my glue and just start sticking. Okay, so I'm getting really messy here. This is more my natural state of affairs, to be honest with you. Right, so I've got that's all glued down and I've got the stamping done. But I suddenly thought, let's add a bit of this because it's called forest moss. And I don't want to go too crazy with it. Let's just see what I can create. I've taken off some of the pieces I wanted to intersperse. And I don't know whether it's going to show. Let's see. A bit. Obviously doing it on the very dark brown. I might not use that. It's coming out a little bit. Let's add a little bit there. And some down there. Yeah, I think that variety of colour might just bring things to life a little bit. I don't want the background to look too flat. I think I had success yesterday with inking around the edges of the pieces that I made the background from, so I'm going to try and do that again this time because I just love the depth of it and the sort of worn look of it. There we go. Yeah, I think that's going to add a little bit of a something. Not forgetting I've got my beautiful tree bark to add as well, which I think will look a whole lot better when it's glued down. I don't know how flat it's going to go. We might end up with a bit of three-dimensionality, or I might have to cut it very thin to avoid all the creases. Anyway, so let's just move all this. And quite nice little bits on there as well. So I just want to glue those down. Probably quite a bit of it will get covered up, but do I want that bit? Oh, if I don't like it, I'll cover it. Love that little berry there. If you can see. Zoom you in a little bit. Sorry if that gave you a headache. There we go. So I'm still having trouble with my iPhone storage. I upgraded my cloud data thingy, iCloud, but my phone is still saying full, it won't sync. It's just one of those days again. You heard me blaming retrograde Mercury in postcard number 12 video. I'm still blaming it. If you don't know what that is, so when Mercury appears to go backwards in the sky, it doesn't really go backwards. That can make things tricky if you're trying to do anything technical or to do with communication. So the whole of August, well, nearly the whole of August, the 5th till about the 27th, I think, don't quote me on those dates, are retrograde Mercury. So if you too have been having car trouble or difficulty making travel arrangements, all that kind of stuff, then yeah, we're trying to book a holiday and that's proving more difficult than it should be as well. So it's best not to try and do these things during retrograde Mercury, in my experience. Let's lose that. Oh, didn't put any glue under that bit. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. It used to be the strapline for, I think it was called British Rail back in those days. Don't know what it's called now. Got so many different rail networks here in the UK that it's difficult to keep up with it all. So I use South Western Rail quite regularly. It's very good when it works, but yeah, once upon a time all the rail networks were the same, and the strapline was "We're getting there." Not sure whether they ever actually did get there. Any road. Now, I don't want to about the colours that I'm going to be adding at the end. Sorry, you can't see. At the end, being more sort of autumnal and browny colours. So we've got the candle, the acorns, this lady who I still need to cut out. I think maybe a couple of tree bark pieces, that colour, and a couple of the yellowy one will just add a bit of depth to what I'm trying to do here. I might add that one right on the very edge, like that. Okay, so before I stick my tree bark down, I thought I would just see whether a bit of archival ink around the edges might give it even more depth. So like creating a bit of a shadow, as if the whole thing is curved rather than flat. It's very, very tissuey. This was actually an inside layer of a piece, so it's sort of split itself into two. And this one is ground espresso. I just wanted it to be a little darker. So, ooh, yes. Oh, except it's not quite long enough. Other than that, maybe I do want to stick to these paler tree barks rather than the slightly more coffee coloured, cinnamony coloured ones. Oh, now I like that. Also, the bark is curving away, and it naturally wants to be that way up, I think. Anyway, let's ink it and see what is going to work. Let me put it on the background. Inky fingers. There's a bit of natural dirt on there. Okay. That's quite good. Maybe that way up. It's a bit thicker at that end. Right, let's see how this is going to stick. It might be a complete disaster. A disaster, darlings. Let's find out. And the glue's gone really sticky. This is a different one, Gloy glue stick. I think it's a bit old. I've got some more Pritt sticks somewhere, but can't lay my hands on them right at this second for some reason. Okay. This might be tricky. Let's try not to get it all over everything. There. Oh, I love it. I love it. There we go. Oh, that looks like a real tree. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Oh, I love it, love it, love it, love it. Anyway, let's trim those bits off. It is a real tree. It's just a very small part of a real tree. Isn't nature amazing? There. Oh, I love it. Did I say I love it? love it, I love it. Okay, what about that piece? Yep, that's going to go there. Oh, I'm going a bit more. Can you see how it's splitting into two? It's giving me a 2-for-1 offer. Love a 2-for-1. There's plenty more in my garden of where that came from. So those trees are constantly peeling their papery bark. Well, they're not, but nature is somehow. So, yeah, I might do some more crafting with this. Anyone else use tree bark for their artwork? Just go on the edges. Okay. Now I was going that way up because the writing is that way up, what's left of it. Yeah, that one can go there. So, gluing the ginger. Am I sure I don't want that colour? Yes. I'm going to keep quite a restrained palette, I think. Love working with colours so much, but I can get a little bit, I suppose what you'd call matchy-matchy with my colour schemes. Maybe I'm afraid to unleash more of a mixture, I don't know. I don't really want a lumpy bumpy surface here, not very much anyway. No, having said that, there's a lump. Never mind. Just slide that in there. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is turning out better than I anticipated. Don't know whether I'm going to use this beautiful piece. I'll have to see at the end when I put everything together. I might just use a couple of slivers of that, maybe to cover up some mistakes. Getting very sticky. As you can see, everything's sticking to me. That's the other piece. There it is. Now, is that long enough? I think I want everything to touch the top and the bottom here. I'm not sure if I might have to go out in the garden and collect some more pieces. That piece might do, but it's gone so curly. Now this is the bit that I think I want. Just smooth out my trimming a little bit. It's really nice to work with, but it is a bit curly. Is it long enough still? Yes. Okay, inking. Really is a fun activity. Now, do not let me forget to put some mushrooms in. As you might have gathered if you watch my channel a lot, I can be a bit of a scatterbrain these days. I think there's benefits to that and some drawbacks as well. When one is being creative, being a bit scattered can lead to happy accidents, and most of the time it can lead to Less happy accidents. Oh dear. Right. Gluing. Try to glue the right side. I quite like the slight curved shape on there as well. Yeah, it's sticking quite well, even with my sticky fingers. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. I'll have to go in with the art glitter glue later and just tidy up those edges. Okay, I've still got a few little bits of white showing through. Do I want to add the thinnest slivers of this? Just to give it, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. So it's as if you're looking through the trees and just finding the tiniest little areas in between where the light's coming through the leaves. Yeah, that's the type of thing. It's the finishing touches that I find really good fun to do. Oops, a daisy. Oh no! Told you everything was getting really sticky around here. Yeah, I'm liking that. I think I'm going to cut on a point. You can see that was cut off from something else. Let's just cut it into a point again so it's more like looking through and in between. Yeah, there we go. That will fill in that tiny little white area. I'm going to have to stop and wash my hands in a moment. There we go. So this is my jelly printing. I'd forgotten I have to include some jelly printing because this is my Gelli postcard play challenge, and at the moment everything's come from my cut and collage books and a cut up book. There we go, that's starting to look like grass as well. So this is the jelly print part, folks. It'd be a shame, wouldn't it, if I spent 2 hours making a postcard and forgot the jelly prints. There we go. Oh, I'm loving this so much. So I continued to stick down my jelly print little slivers off camera because it was very fiddly and it was just easier to do it really close up rather than trying to film it at the same time. That and the syncing activity that my phone has now decided to do. So that's how far I have got. I absolutely love this background so much. I'm going to have to take a photo of it and maybe, I don't know, print it or do something with it. Stick it on Instagram as part of my process maybe. So yeah, I was looking at how these images might work on my background and having a bit of a play. Now I have inked around the edges here using this one, Vintage Photo, and my ink dabber. You can see I'm quite inky now, but never mind. And I cut out this lady from the Autumn Pictures to Cut and Collage book, and I love it. I did have to doctor her hair a little bit. There were quite a few wavy parts, and I don't want to lose too much of my background, and her hair was quite big and Farrah Fawcett-y. I haven't gone around this one yet because I'm still not quite sure if I want to use it, because I'm just loving these mushrooms. Now, I got these out of my mushrooms book, and they were part of a bigger image. So they were part of, let's see, part of this image, I think. I think that one came from there, and that one was at the bottom, which is why it's got a little line along the edge, but I'm not going to let that put me off because I can butt it up to the edge. I thought about maybe using that one, but then I sort of stood back and looked at the background colours, and I thought to myself, why don't we find something that's going to tone in with that? You see, I'm going back to my turquoise again. I just can't help myself. Where's it gone? Here. Right, there is a mushroom here. Now, unfortunately, it's got these little marks on it, which the original artist must have used to link up the labels. But I'm going to ignore that, and I think I'm going to cut that one out because it's just crying out to join those other images, and it won't dominate too much because it's got some of those mossy colours from the background. So let's cut that one out. I know it's destroying the beautiful page, but it's too good not to use, in my humble opinion. And hopefully by the time I've inked around the edges, oh, they're very close together, I might even be able to tone down those little black lines there. So let's just go up to there. Oh, that yellow one is nearly getting chopped off. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to sacrifice those a little, but I think I can still use what's left for something else. Who knows, might even end up adding them to this, but let's just do one thing at a time. Of course, it's easier to pull the whole page out of the book, isn't it? But anyway, so yeah, I'm off to fussy cut this, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I fussy cut that out. Those black marks are still very much in evidence, but I just love it too much not to use it, and I need to find a solution to that. But let's just lose those white edges with our archival ink. Mushrooms so much. It's very easy to plump for a red mushroom with white spots, isn't it? But I really wanted the intensity of the lady's face and that fire to be the focal point of this postcard, and for that reason I'm wondering whether I really need my moth. I think maybe it's a little bit too modern in the stylisation of the art for this particular effect that I'm trying to create. So I might look around in my Butterflies and Moths book for a smaller moth, or I might just forget about the moth, leave it out. And I mustn't forget I need number 13 for this, because it's my 13th in the series, of course. Okay, oh, look at that. Now, hey, look, her hair could cover up one of those lines, couldn't it? Mushrooms don't necessarily need to be coming out of the ground. That would cover that part. Maybe I could... Well, that might work. I know I just said I'd use a different one. Let's look in the butterflies book. Oh, here are some tiny ones. This is what I was thinking. A little bit darker. I might just add a nice finishing touch. I want one that looks like it's fluttering, perhaps. That one's rather nice. But again, I don't want to detract from that lady. Or maybe that's an even smaller one, and I could cover up that mark with that then. Yeah, let's go in with the scissors and do that. Plus it's near the edge, which is purely laziness really, isn't it? Here we go. Yep, I think that will cover that part up very effectively. Do I just want one or do I want a few? I don't want to go too crazy with the stylisation. I don't mean stylisation, I mean, you know, visually taking away from what I've already created there. That one's nice. Again, this book has a lot of moths as well as the butterflies, so it would have been just too long a name. 1000 Vintage Butterflies and Moths cut out in collage was just a bit too much of a mouthful. So I'll fussy cut those back in a tick. Okay, quick progress update. So I cut these out, fussy cut them, and went around the edges with the archival ink in Vintage Photo, and I decided I'd give this one another shot, so I've just finished fussy cutting that and gone around the edges also in the Vintage Photo, because I'm starting to have other ideas now about including it. So the hair is going to cover up that little line on that mushroom. That little pretty butterfly is going to go there, and I think my moth is going to flutter around somewhere. I don't really want this hard line on this woman's outfit, so I might see if I can find something else just to go there. I have got this mushroom as well. Hey, that might work, but she's going to be right on the edge of the page. So that way we've sort of got a foreground with the candle and these mushrooms, and a mid-ground with Our Lady there, and then a sort of second mid-ground with this mushroom, and then the background of the trees. So I'm running out of room for my number 13, and I had an idea. I just cut the number 13 out from the page number. It's a bit teeny, so I'm going to try and mount it on a piece of tree bark. Now, if I can find a darker piece, I think that will work. Maybe a bit that's got plenty of little lines on it. I found a bit where it's so curly. But if I just glue that on there. Okay, so I've had a bit of a break, to be honest with you, since I last worked on this postcard for one reason or another. But let's just see where I had got up to. Obviously, when I've edited this all together, you won't know the difference, but there is my beautiful background. I'm so excited about this postcard. I'm just in love with the colour scheme and the images. So I think what I wanted to do was to put if I remember. You're maybe shouting at the screen to where I'd put everything. I wanted her hair to cover up that little line on the mushroom. I wanted that picture to slightly cover up this hard line. So like that. Now, that mushroom was going to go here, right on the edge, because it's got that hard line because of where it came from in the book. And oh crikey, where was that mushroom? I think maybe everything was a bit further up. Thus, I think that there, maybe that mushroom was there. There's my number 13. It's very curly, that piece of bark from the tree, and I'm going to have to stick that down quite firmly with the art glitter glue, I think. I might even, not sure, I might put it down there. I think it's better up there. And then I've got my two, let me zoom right in so you can really see my two pretty butterflies. That one's going to go on that mushroom to cover up that little line. And that pretty little moth, I think, I had decided to put it up there, but I'm not quite sure. Let's move everything down. There's not much wriggle room in this design, so I'm keen to not muck it up. Okay, there we go. So it's round about like that. So I think I need to stick the mushroom down first, and maybe the butterfly on the mushroom. So let's get the art glitter glue out. We're going to try and get this in frame. It's not that easy. Okay, so that goes, I think, just about there. Okay, and then on the back, there's so much beautiful detail in this postcard. I don't want for it not to be seen, so I have zoomed in super close. Okay, so I need to stick that, I think, there, and then she can be the next layer on top with her wave of hair just covering up that piece there. It's all coming together. It's all coming together. Okay, right. What I don't want to do is pull that strand of hair off with the glue stick. Sorry, you can't see again. There we go. She is very Farrah Fawcett with her hair, isn't she? There. So beautiful and autumnal and somewhat magical. Right, now this bit's important as well, because you see how fiddly diddly all those edges are, and I just want that to go, I think, there. So ever so, oh no, look, I've stuck her. Oh, I suppose the mushroom could be coming out from behind the tree. Do you see what I mean? I've stuck her a bit too far away from the edge for this mushroom to be touching the edge of the postcard, but whatever, I'm not whatevs, I'm not going to worry. Let's stick that down before any more mishaps happen. Let's go there. It doesn't really matter if that line shows up, but I was hoping to lose it. There, that can go there. And that will cover it up. It also covers up some of her sleeve, and it might look like she's going to set light to her hair. What do you think? Perhaps we'll go there, because visually that's going to annoy me if her hair looks like it's going to be on fire. So let's carefully. I'm going to go around the edge with the art glitter glue afterwards, I think, just to be on the safe side in case I accidentally tear any bits off. This is my favourite part, when it all comes together. And the decision making is done, and it's just about getting it all lined up. And in position. Oh, now I knew that berry was going to give me some jip. Oops. Oops a daisy. Okay, so this stuff dries clear. If it does squish out, we're all good. There we are. Oh, look at that. So beautiful. Right, so I've just got a mushroom, the number 13, fifth number 13 postcard in the series. Oh no, where was that mushroom going? Oh, I was going to do it behind there. Oh dear. Poo. Right, oh yeah, no, we're good. I think I can just carefully lift that up just a smidge. Like that. Yeah, that will do. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Okay. That's going there. Let's add a tiny bit more under there. Oops. There we go. Okay, so I just need this little moth. Maybe I should put the number on first. Let's put the 13 fairly central. And then the moth will just have to fit in afterwards, I think. Let's give him some of that glue. Or her, could be a she. How do you know? How do you know if your moth is male or female? Answers on a postcard. That is very curly at the edges, isn't it? I think I might have to glue that and stick it inside something heavy. I think that can go there. Okay, tiny bit more. Doo-doo-doo. Hold it down. Come on, stick. Oh no, it really is very springy. think I might have to put that inside a big heavy book or something like that, excuse me. There we go. I'm not sure if that's quite straight, that 13. Oh, it's moved. There we are. Okay. Yeah, I think I can live with the mushroom on the edge here, because that then looks like it's the tree next to it. Excellent. Oh, that was a tense moment sticking all that down. So the composition was quite important to get right, I feel, so that everything worked, especially with that turquoise mushroom. So, hey, did you see my mushroom book flip through? That is now on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it at the end so you can hop over and see where I got those beautiful mushrooms from, my cut and collage book. There we are. Right, I'm going to just nip the edges, the corners. There's some sort of magic that happens when I do this. It's a kind of magic. Definitely a nip of autumn in the air here in London. The odd leaf tumbling out of the trees, and had some quite September-y weather this week already. So I need to do a tiny bit of inking around the edges here, just to hold it all together. Now, what colour did I use? I think I used the vintage photo archival ink, so I'm going to stick with that because it's got that beautiful coppery rusty colour. So I think I can probably lay this on quite thick today. I might even have to go a bit bolder with ground espresso, but let's just see how this one pans up first. I could do a layer of this and then a layer of the ground espresso just in a few places to grunge it up a little more. Every postcard, nearly every postcard I've made, I've gone, oh, I think this is my favourite so far, but this is really up my street, this one. So beautiful and slightly magical. The candles and the autumnal colours. A tiny hint of otherworldliness about it. And those beautiful vintage mushrooms really give it that magical autumnal feeling. So what do we think? I'm going to go in with my ground espresso a little. Don't want to go too crazy. Just to nip the edges with it. Might be hard for you to see against this dark background. I think my paper birch tree bark is resisting the ink a little bit, being a natural substance, natural material. There we go. Right, I think, is that enough? Yep, I think it is. There we are. Okay, let's see if I can just put it on a different background so you get the impression of the edges a little bit more. Bear with me. How hard can it be to find a piece of paper around here? Okay, so now you can see the edges a little bit better. There. Well, I love it. Do you love it? Let me know. Let me know what you think. Comments in the description, and that'd be amazing. Okay, so I'm going to go now. It's been a week making this video, and it's the weekend here now in London, so I shall be doing weekendy things, I think, tomorrow. I haven't really got any plans, so that will be a nice change. Anyway, I will see you next time. Bye for now.